Boom, left on red.
Okay, you're a
parents-
psychopath if you have read receipts on.
Ooh.
I don't ignore my family.
My parents
Okay.
just don't know technology. They can't
Do the
use it.
casters hate their family like Raz and Jet? Let's find
They
out.
can't
Time
use
to get
that.
into the game.
I am really bad about messaging my family, actually.
Bro, I didn't even know
Yeah.
what WhatsApp was until I started doing international events. I have never heard about that. Like, growing up in a cornfield, that doesn't exist. Like,
So-
that's not real.
Yeah, I do use WhatsApp to talk to friends from other countries just because it's like, you know, the thing that they use.
Also, Jat is a total Apple shill. Like,
Yeah, what?
just
I
pushing
don't
the
know about
Apple
this.
propaganda. Like, that is crazy. You're trying to make people feel the FOMO that is this totally convoluted. Like, oh, you're not in the blue text.
Yeah.
you gotta buy an Apple phone. Oh my God. They got him hook, line, and sinker.
know.
He is in deep.
I will say, regardless of what messaging app I have, despite the fact that I have a pretty good relationship with my parents now, I don't talk to them as often as I should.
Well,
Well,
thankfully
you
the
should tell
game
them
is
to tune into this game now
I
because
know.
we're finally back live on the Rift. Let's see what we get here. I'm so glad the audio issues are fixed. Both of our junglers are starting on the top side of the map, pathing towards that bottom part. And you know what that means? It's more likely that we get a crab fight since they're both going to be in the same place.
We love the crab fight. We love junglers just visiting bot. We've talked about how important these bot 2v2s are as we see the lane kind of going as expected here. The turret hugging has begun.
And I would actually guess because, you know, the first Scuttle Crabs are mirrored. We're not going to get a fight over them. If your bot lane is getting pushed in, then usually you just go to the top crab instead. And
Yeah, but I want to dream.
yeah, you got to wait for that third one, buddy. Don't worry. We're going to we'll put a timer up there. We'll get the third one.
Kobe and I have it covered.
Okay, I'm going to trust you guys.
Trust us. And more, our graphics team has it covered.
Bot lane, though, going to get pushed in. Topside as well. So Thanatos on Cassante getting the early shove onto the Rumble, giving two pushing lanes here for Cloud9 on both sides of the map. And we'll see what Blabber does, assuming he's going to go just right over to the bottom. Scuttle Crab, though, should be able to grab his first, and then assuming that Griffin is going to go the other side. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, APA is taking a decent amount of damage here on Galio. You have to trade your health for CS, but Quad is doing a very good job. Nice, healthy CS lead for himself. Taking a lot of opportunities to harass the Galio as well. And the Scuttle Crab fight is actually happening.
Oh, man. I told you, Kobe, you just have to believe. Okay, Griffin's going to start this fight off here a little bit, but it's Blabber with the much faster burst at the very start. They want to try to get in there as Griffin's going to be taken down to 200 HP. Blabber stays alive. First blood over to APA as Cryogen now has to try to escape. C9. Blabber and the Crabbers get their job done.
Yup, he had his team there to back him up. Clutch Nico route coming out of Vulcan there as well. Blabber secures the crab. He's now headed up topside to grab that other crab. he thus far is winning the crab wars, Kobe.
It's really unfortunate for Griffin too, because if you lose the first two, you're already going to be significantly behind in experience, you know, even before the third one comes. So it is looking very good for Cloud9 in a world that revolves around crabs. Really though, jumping on the fight and just bursting Griffin down was the very big deal here. You know, Vulcan was talking a lot of chat early on before the game even started during the pause, you know, about the prowess there of Nico, but definitely huge influence there. APA and Vulcan collapsing, and both flashes for both mid laners used to get there quick enough.
Yeah, and we'll see if the junglers want to take advantage of that as APA kind of puts on a little harass. Here we go. Record when getting double Scuttle, 4-2 for LCS Lock In teams.
Yeah, double Scuttle is looking good. That is, remember the stats for just getting the third crab was only like a 42% win rate? Just with the little data that we do have so far, but double Scuttle, that's huge.
Okay, Cryogen and Masu trying to fight their way back out from underneath the shadow of the Tier 1 turret where they've been trapped this entire time, but Sven and Vulcan still just fine right now. Cryogen low enough on HP that the Alistar doesn't really want to continue trying to walk up and take damage. Sven's going to go ahead and go for the recall angle here, return to base, make his purchases, lock in a little bit of extra damage there with the long swords, and Masu and Cryogen will be happy to not have that Corki in their face, even if it's only for one quick recall.
Yeah, it's a quick reprieve as we see Gekko's clearing out the wave with Equalizer, so he is going to have his back, and Vulcan just continuing to kind of poke at that Alistar.
Also, it actually is a good thing for APA to get the kill credit, by the way, because Galio, even if you're looking at from Ambesa's, perspective, if Galio gets the early money, then Galio is getting early Bombing Sender, which is going to go into an early Hollow Radiance, which means your mid laner is going to have no problem, pushing waves and dealing with the minions, and will be able to join you on all of your plays in the future as well. So APA kind of being funded into his Dark Seal plus his health potion, his refillable health potion, and the wave clear from your bombies is like a really, really good early state for Galio. And then once you get Hollow Radiance as well, those minion waves just explode in front of you. Unfortunately, we do have another pause, and we will have to wait. No. I'm going to say this dragon, though, 100% goes to Cloud9.
Yeah.
Is anyone willing to bet against it?
No. I think, again, this is just a showcase of, we saw the crab fight. One of the reasons why Blabber was so confident is not only the matchup, but also just the fact that they've had pushing bot side this entire time. Once again, you see what that bot side cryo gives you. Blabber able to go in onto this pretty early Drake take for them to start that potential Drake stacking. The Corki Gatling gun is
I can't believe
in my ears this entire time, and it's kind of driving me crazy.
Hopefully we don't get the spectator thing where it just continues the whole game.
I was going to say, the most unlucky pause timing is with Corki's stupid Gatling gun.
That's why I didn't want to mention it.
I'm sorry. I might have cursed us.
Don't bring that evil into this world.
I will say the worst one I ever heard was in LPL with Pool Party Lulu. When I was listening, I think it happened in like season 5 or season 6. And there was an entire game where I was just watching it, and I couldn't believe the casters could cast through it, because all I heard was the bubble, like the blip, blip from the Pool Party Lulu over and over again from a pause through the entire game.
So speaking of pauses, update on this one. As you can see, League officials are working on Gekko's computer this time. We have been informed that his in-game audio just completely fell out. It's dead.
Top laners and audio issues today. What's going on?
It's rough up in top lane. But hopefully this one will resolve faster than the other one did. We won't have to look at the evil screen of doom that looks like the computer is crashing.
Yeah, that one was pretty formidable. As we see Gekko's
top laners
kind of
are already
around.
Isolated. They need to at least hear game sounds, It's like,
you'll just go crazy.
If they don't hear game sounds, they're gonna have any interaction. No one's talking to them. They're just, especially if you're playing Cassante up there. It's like,
just like, hello?
Good luck up there by yourself.
Anyone here? Man, sorry, I keep getting
this.
Emily.
It's like, okay. Did you ever have to read? I had to read this story in 7th grade. I promise this is relevant. It was, I believe, a Kurt Vonnegut story called Harrison Bergeron. And
oh, yeah, totally.
Okay,
I couldn't even spell that if you asked me.
Basically, the way they distract people is by like inserting sounds into their head or like giving them like potential. Anyway, never mind. No one cares. What? That's what this reminds me of.
Cut yourself off.
It's purposefully sent to drive us crazy. Although now I no longer hear it, so they must have cut it. Thank you, audio team.
Your brain is kind of programmed to, like, if there's something that is constant but is not meaningful, then you'll eventually like filter it out,
Yeah.
and so you'll start so unless someone like Emily brings it up over and over.
I am so sorry.
Then it's constantly brought back to the forefront of your mind.
I'll never mention it again.
And your brain's like, oh, this is important.
The Emily Corki Gatling. The worst part is I'm now going to subconsciously associate Corki's Gatling gun with Emily for like the rest of my life.
We're getting back in. That is unfortunate.
As soon as if we ever get that bug, it's like, oh no, Emily's attacking us.
No, it's the Emily bug.
Again. Oh, God.
Okay, so the Drake did go over to Cloud9 to the surprise of what I would assume
Man.
is no one. And
Here we go.
there's our Scuttle Crab. This is our third crab.
Yeah, the crab, and they're just making a beeline for it right now. So it's gotta be Blabbers because he got the previous 2 crabs. So unfortunately, we're not gonna get a battle over this Scuttle Crab.
Yeah.
But as
really
you
liked
can
our
see,
graphic,
we
though.
still gotta use these. Our graphics team
our
made some
graphics
beautiful.
team absolutely smurfed this when me and Kobe wanted this request. So thank you, LCS graphics team. You guys are amazing.
Ooh, flash in the bottom lane. Cryogen and Masu looking to make their move on Sven. The Corki escapes, 200 HP remaining. Did not have to spend his flash, but now the barrier's down.
Yeah, barriers down, and FlyQuest should be able to push this wave in, get some turret gold for themselves.
We're not done yet.
they're
Sven's about to die. Cryogen goes in for the dive, needs to stun him up here, get that trample. Sven still escaping for now, but Cryogen just knocks that Corki over. Vengeance for having to listen to the Gatling gun.
Oh, yeah. they were not happy about that pause. They're going to get more than turret plate money, too. The dive, I like that dive. Really nicely done. And we kind of set it up as, how well Masu has been playing for FlyQuest. He's doing heavy carrying. It's unfortunate. Yeah, okay. Last hit had to go to Cryogen, but you take that any day, actually securing the kill and getting it on the dive. So that's very, very big stuff for this bottom lane. I also immediately pulled up chat because I wanted to see if Masu and Cryogen were gonna say anything back to Sven after the early stages, but they decided, maybe they did go on mute and they're gonna take the more conservative route. But here's another look at it. We saw it start up, and then getting your 4th shot, he goes grenade into 4th shot, gets the burst, and he's like, Cryogen, you can finish the job. He's got his trample, boom, gets the empowered auto attack to finish it off and secure the kill.
And really nice recognition of when they can go in. Cryogen has talked so much about how much he respects Masu kind of in this lane, what he's brought, how aggressive they've been. He kind of credits to Masu, and now Griffin's here.
Yeah, and Cryogen as well, such a young player, so much ahead of him, you have to think. And
yeah.
Going for his flash there. Now he's going to have Hex Flash for Alistar, still very useful.
Yep.
And approaching his level 6. So we'll see about the fight over vision on bottom side. Control wards still stand here. Nice defensive control wards for FlyQuest, just in the upper Fey lights in their Tri-Brush, so they feel pretty secure about that one, and Griffin just gets to go for his reset. Blabber, however, still is going to have his jungle lead, so Blabber on the Mbessa will retain the early CS lead from those extra crabs, and we'll take a look at the top side of the map. As
Here we
bottom
go.
side,
No, bottom side's already got another fight as they want to try to turn things around here with a Pop Blossom, and Cryogen falls critically not level 6 yet on that Alistar, so there's no unbreakable will. They take their opportunity, they seize the chance, they knock him down.
Yeah, really nice recognition. After Griffin has backed, they stuck around. I thought they were just going to stop the backs, but no, they went fully in, and like you already pointed out, Flowers, since Alistar is still at level 5 for Cryogen, he cannot pop that unbreakable will to keep himself alive.
and Griffin, while I was looking at the mini-map, he had already been kind of going over to the grubs, and so he immediately takes one of them and the Scuttle Crab up there, but gets out immediately because the play was actually so fast on bottom side that you can't stick around and take the rest of those because you know Blabber's going to reset and get back to the opposite side of the map.
Yeah, and Blabber already with the Profane Hydra fully completed. The difference in power between junglers right now is pretty massive.
Yeah, that is significant. So much kill pressure there. It gives you lethal in a lot of extra scenarios here with the full combo from Mbessa plus a Profane activation. So honestly, there's a lot of places to look at the moment, but
Where would you look?
I mean,
it was you.
Dragon.
It's pretty hard. Well, I usually want to try and make a play either on mid lane or bottom lane first, preemptively before the dragon gets here, so you can get some summoner spells out maybe. Problem is, like, Rise with Ghost and Flash and Phase Rush is pretty slippery. So I don't think they're actually going to be able to make one of those like preemptive plays because Cryogen now also is level 6, so it's kind of hard on both sides. So maybe they just move in and they force it and try and get their vision coverage here through the river first.
Okay, there's our Sundered Sky for Griffin being completed. You could also see the Kanik Rookern fully done now in the top lane for Thanatos. That's kind of like the big sigh of relief item for anybody laning against Rumble. That's where you start to just be able to use the shield to shrug off the aggressive Flame Spitter trading. And honestly, Thanatos is totally happy with how this lane is going so far. I mean, you're a couple waves up in farm, feeling good. Okay, Griffin tries to go in for the flash into the dreaded return. Defensive Nico ulti to try to stop it, but FlyQuest still needs a little bit more damage to try to grab the kill, but they won't quite get there. Vulcan gets the kill onto Griffin, but APA takes Cryogen out. Quad makes his way into the fight, but now he's got to try to retreat. He cannot do it, and C9 are up 5-2.
Ooh, Nico and Galio all combination here. Vulcan has survived so long, too. He was able to go out the back, and so it actually required Quad's flash investment to end up securing that kill.
Yeah, as we see, Griffin is able to go in, but immediately Hot Blossom. Sven is completely untouched here too. And as you already talked about, Kobe, Vulcan lives for so long as the Galio comes down on top of them. Quad is dead as well in the back half of that fight. Really, really big early win for C9.
Yeah, I mean, it required Quad then flashing in to secure the kill onto Nico, and that means not only were they able to kill him, but no flash now for repeat plays. So huge opportunities for Cloud9 all across the map. Remember how that last series went, Flowers? We were hoping that it would be a little bit of a different story here this time, but Cloud9 have been so good. Wow.
I don't think it was supposed to go right there.
That was
I would say no.
He was drawing the pathway that he wanted to take.
He laid out the red carpet for himself.
Yeah, to go back home by his turret.
To the safety of the turret. All right, a little bit of an unlucky misclick there from Gakghost to lose his Rumble ult for a whole lot of nothing. Problem is, there's the top lane might be covered in red, but the scoreboard is covered in blue. There are advantages for C9 in every single individual role, and you can see at the top of your screen, there's still not the mid lane quest completed for Quad. So FlyQuest is starting to fall behind pretty significantly.
And the big swap in that river skirmish that FlyQuest ended up starting themselves is that going into the Drake fight, I thought Masu was in the best position, right? Because he was the only one who had a gold lead over his opponent going in. Now Sven, I think it bumped up almost to 1K now at about 800 gold. So that was a really big gold swing.
I like what Blabber is doing, you know, continue to push the lead. He's got the jungle lead, he's got mid push, he's got bottom side push. Go in, go for the invade, steal away the blue buff here. Really keep FlyQuest out of it, keep that pressure on. Cloud9 just looks so comfortable yet again.
Yup.
Does not bode well here for FlyQuest.
And remember, C9 chose FlyQuest as their opponent. After the best of 3 that we got to see last week, clearly they were feeling confident to pick these guys to go up against them here in the first round of brackets. And so far, so good here in game number 1, as we are just about a minute away from those points we were checking in on from the previous series. And FlyQuest really wants to get that gold difference at 15 down closer to what it looked like in the previous game 2, instead of the game 1 or game 3. Griffin is here, C9 posturing aggressively, Cryogen taking a ton of burst damage. Pop Blossom lands, Cryogen gets away for now. Griffin cannot charge up his blood. There's no way for him to ever try to resurrect because the Zehen cannot move in these fights.
Yeah, immediately the Ambessa suppress comes in as if the initial CC weren't enough. You saw both junglers kind of hovering there. I also had seen earlier APA kind of fainting towards that bot side. I thought C9 were potentially gonna set up a possible dive, and now you just have APA hammering away at this turret, C9 continuing to just find plays around the map.
Yeah, the weakness of Zehen is short fights. And I don't think that we have seen a single time this whole game where he has been able to stack his passive, the Cultivation of War. Every fight has been so quick. He has been targeted every fight, so he has not been able to hit enough champions to stack up that passive. I don't believe a single time in this whole game, and it does not get better because once you're behind, then you're going to be squishier. You will continue to be the target. You will continue to be easy to burst down, and so it continues to look rough here as Cloud9's onslaught. They're just going to really wear away at these outer towers as well. Turret plates going down on mid. They've already rotated Sven and Vulcan over to that lane, and so Cloud9 just kind of moving forward very effectively here. Only 15 minutes in, and they've got a clear pathway to victory.
Yeah, that entire little run of play after the bot side skirmish, you have them going up, getting Scuttle, like you said, pressuring mid. Earlier down in that bot lane, APA on Galio was pressuring that bot turret. So C9 are really, really well set up.
And I feel like all of those mid lane bans that we saw back in draft from FlyQuest have really not done a whole lot of damage to APA. 2-0 and 3 here on the Galio. Obviously, it's fitting in very well with the comp and how they're using it alongside the Nico. C9 just seems completely undeterred.
Honestly, I feel like any time like the narrative restarts of APA being like, oh, he can only play a few champions, etc., he just ends up proving everyone wrong. And it's kind of happening again, despite the fact that he hasn't actually played a lot of different champions thus far because he hasn't been challenged in the as much in the best of threes.
I'll tell you what it did do, Flowers. Those mid lane bans, they made him look cooler because now he's using the new Transformer skin.
Yeah.
So he's like Optimus Prime Galio looking.
It just makes you feel like a leader, like you want to jump into the battle.
He's looking pretty good. Blabber also looking pretty good here with his healthy gold lead on Ambessa. And Rift Herald activated mid. That one's going to take that, and they could.
Yup, they're looking to go in and make their move, and it's Blabber leading the charge. Here comes Heroic Entrance right down over the top as Cryogen's Alistar will not be tanky enough to survive any longer. Griffin's still trying to stack up full of determination, and he finally gets a resurrection. But FlyQuest are still going to lose the fight. Griffin will not get anything out of that resurrect. 2 dead again for nothing traded back, and it's just another C9 team fight.
And on the back half of that fight, Vulcan is Nico is kind of zoning out the rest of the team as you see this happen. They pop Herald for priority, clear out that ward. Thanatos is here. Blabber immediately goes in on the Ambessa.
Yeah, Ambessa Galio combo is such powerful engage, and they're so far ahead. The secondary engage you're talking about,
Pop Blossom,
Vulcan Pop Blossoms 3, and then he flashes away. And he creates just so much extra time for the team. But, I mean, they're so far ahead. They're just steamrolling. You could tell Blabber's positioning there. He was just positioning so far forward, so aggressive. He's like, yes, I know. All I have to do is ult somebody, get inside for the Galio ult to go on top of me. And he sniped quad with his Ambessa ultimate, and they were able to, follow up very easily here. So FlyQuest, that is 3 dragons already. That is a very early Dragon Soul point, Flowers.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure on FlyQuest to try and find some angle to do something, but C9 are just finding better fights. That last fight, Blabber was so empowered, so fearless. He just completed his Sundered Sky. He had the full 2-item power spike, and he led the charge.
Yeah, and it doesn't get better for FlyQuest because we mentioned the Galio and Galio being very good versus double AP solo laners. And then you also mentioned the Koenig Brookern, which is basically makes Cassante have a Galio passive also. And so both solo laners for C9 have these massive magic shields that they can use over and over. Just go push the wave, soak up the shields. Blabber's looking aggressive again. All right, that's another blue buff, and he's eyeballing it.
Yep, they're thinking about it. Griffin and Quad trying to use the buddy system here in their own jungle, but they can see Sven on the approach through vision. Blabber is not going to get a chance to start another fight here just yet, but the clock is ticking. 3.5 minutes left until what'll be Ocean Soul for C9. And if things feel difficult already to try to punch through this front line on C9's side, it's going to become virtually impossible if they secure an Ocean Soul 23 minutes into the game.
Yeah, especially with, again, we talked about how this composition could work, right? The layering of the CC, the confidence that Blabber is going to have to get into these fights onto priority targets. We've seen it in pretty much every skirmish and full team fight that C9 has had. And now they can kind of set up the map however they want going forward to really pressure FlyQuest into making some, not even bad decisions, but because one thing I do appreciate about this FlyQuest team is they're always willing to try to go for something. And either, they end up winning a fight that looked disadvantageous at the start, or they kind of continue to lose and then go to the next game. I still think that's a really healthy attitude to have. And so we'll see what decisions FlyQuest will have on this map, because I know they'll still be looking for something.
Yeah, it's really hard for them to look good when you're this far behind, as maybe Have a little exchange here. Teleports on top side at the very least.
Yeah, we're going to get 2 TPs right next to each other. Cryogen ready for the arrival here of Thanatos. The Cassante taking a ton of damage and has to try to flash away. Now the Equalizer ready to follow as Curtain Call opens up. Thanatos going to be tanking here in the front, but the counter engage is big from C9. Pop Blossom into a heroic entrance, and they just suplex this fight, throw FlyQuest all the way out of the ring. This one's done.
And that's one of those scenarios where, like you're saying, you're so far behind. It's hard for it to look good, but you have to take an opportunity. If this Cassante is so low in front of you, you know, they are actually able to burst him down, but the counter from from Cloud9 is better, so they should be able to get the Baron.
I was gonna say, like, that's kind of exactly what you and I have been talking about in terms of, like, why not take the chance? That did look like they could have potentially turned it around if it wasn't for, again, just this ridiculous CC layering that we see from this C9 composition, because as Cassante goes in, he immediately gets rooted and stunned up and takes a lot of damage at the beginning of this fight, Kobe. Then the Equalizer goes out. Looks like a really nice setup for the Jhin ult, but then again, the Pop Blossom, the Galio coming down on top of you. It's just so hard for FlyQuest to fight back with the kind of counter engage that C9 has, and with the wallet difference.
Yeah, there's a little trampoline up in the top lane. Vulcan's bouncing on it first, and then Galio is going on top of the Ambessa ultimate, and they didn't get to touch the ground very much there. So anyways, Cloud9, now what's left to do, Flowers, with your Baron buff?
Well, you got 20 seconds until you can get yourself what should be essentially a free Ocean Soul on top of it. So they'll get these lanes pushed out a little bit. They'll apply some pressure towards the top side.
Right.
Sven flashes away. They wanted to try to use the Realm Warp to catch out the C980 carry, but now APA's wrapping around to try to make the fight go sideways. FlyQuest disengages before C9's counterpunch can land this time, but Thanatos is ready and waiting over the walls. FlyQuest feel the pressure. They know they can't afford to just give this soul away. They wanted to make the pick on Sven, but C9 reacted in time. Keep your eyes on Vulcan. Keep your eyes on APA. Vulcan just trying to bamboozle him a little bit there with the clone, as APA might be getting caught a little bit off to the side, but no, it's Cryogen taking a ton of damage here too. Griffin as well, they both fall down, and APA is still walking away. A taunt on the way out means there's no way for anybody to secure the kill. Meanwhile, Blabber was able to assassinate Masu solo in the jungle off to the side. It is an ace for nothing for C9.
Flowers.
Oof.
Cut the tape, my friend. Can I ask for a mercy rule?
This one.
Can I get a mercy ruling?
Looking like a go next.
Please, 10,000 gold lead Dragon Soul. Baron is still, they still have Baron. They're doing these fights so quickly. The Baron buff is still on.
Going down in chat, and the GG.
I feel the same way, man. Oh, man.
I thought surely, like, okay, maybe they're able to get Galio on the back half of this, just because he does end up taking so much damage here, but no.
Yeah, he gets his E off, channeling. They just tank it. Blabber ults in as well, and they shred them in time. APA is able to kite away and live and have enough time to chat.
There's always enough time to chat.
The Pop Blossom on the back half of that, just like insult to injury.
Yeah,
for one person.
Vulcan has had a lot of big ones, but you know, you count these ones too.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm saying for FlyQuest, it's like, oh, that's when you're gonna.
Well, things
comes back up.
Even more scary now because Vulcan does have Seeker's arm guard ready to go unbroken for even more playmaking whenever he goes in. Death's Dance on Blabber, so he's even more difficult to assassinate here as well. And APA has decided it is time for the Book of BM. The Medjai's Soul Stealer completed with 10 stacks. FlyQuest again trying to use the Realm Warp to make a move onto APA, pulls him back with a dreaded return, but again, there's just no damage. APA just walks away from it. Curtain Call finally opens up, slows the C9 mid laner down enough to finally secure the kill for FlyQuest. And 25 minutes into the game, it feels like this is the first time FlyQuest have found a pick or found a move that C9 weren't able to punish.
I feel like the Medjai's is a curse sometimes. You know,
might be.
You're feeling yourself, you go back in.
Okay, Thanatos could now be
die.
in a little bit of danger, but no, nobody else is close enough to make that move happen there. So Quad is just going to push him back. So at least this is a very small amount of breathing room for FlyQuest. Now that APA is down, they know that C9 can't just be invading their jungle, making more moves, setting up the next wombo combo with the Nico here just yet. But APA is going to respawn here very soon. 2 minutes until we get Baron back on the map, and then Elder will be showing up just a couple more after that. I feel like if you're FlyQuest, you recognize that the only possible way you can win this game is it has to be just absolute yakety sacks at Elder Dragon. That you get it, and then you win a team fight, and you just full send it down mid.
Yeah.
My question is, when you buy a Medjai's, and then you're walking around with 0 pages in your book, do you feel shame? Do you feel any shame?
No, I think you just. I think you go back to chat. You just start typing again.
Flowers goes, I can't read anyway. I don't need pages.
Doesn't matter to me.
I would feel shame personally. But if you're asking me if I think APA feels shame, no.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, he probably never feels any.
I would feel mortified.
Well,
but I also have a lot less confidence.
Also,
than APA does.
if they ever say anything, then you can just be like, check the scoreboard.
Yeah, C9's biggest problem this game being the fact that APA's Medjai Soul Stealer currently looks silly.
Yeah.
Embarrassing. Problem to have. They're chilling overall, I think.
I don't know if they can come back from this, Flowers, this series. That's going to be some emotional damage, actually.
Right, yeah, the mental onslaught of having no pages in your book as FlyQuest will be forced out of their own jungle.
I was going to say the actual onslaught onto these turrets where we're
straight
just
down mid lane.
Yeah, we're just taking this inhib.
Okay, just mid lane inhibitor turret gone, mid lane inhibitor gone. FlyQuest, they have quad and bottom lane split pushing a tier 1 because they know that it's just impossible to win these fights. So C9 will say, sure, take the tier 1, that's all right. Have your objective, bounty, 500 gold, whatever. Double inhibs claimed now for the C9 side as they'll finish off that last little bit of the health bar of the top lane inhib. FlyQuest posturing like maybe there's some kind of pursuit play to make here, but it's just so difficult to find anything.
Yeah, double inhibs, seeing them kind of back off, probably set up for this Baron take ahead of that Elder Drake fight. They're TPing in. I was going to say FlyQuest.
Full send! Get in there!
All right, FlyQuest wants to go in. Gatghost is going to lead the charge here with the Flame Spitter, but he doesn't get a whole lot of damage. C9 splitting their focus a little bit. Baron down to about 6,000 HP on the health bar, but Blabber goes over the wall, and Griffin is going to be his target. Meanwhile, off to the side, the heroic entrance finds its way on Amasu, and now there's pressure on the FlyQuest carries. They're already out of there. Quad can at least escape with the Realm Warp, but that's 2 dead on the FlyQuest side, one of which is the jungler. C9 don't even need the Baron. They're just going to march down mid, send APA up the top with the teleport, and go for the Nexus right now. FlyQuest trying to get any amount of healing that they might be able to from the fountain before they make their final stand. But I do not think this final stand is going to last very long. Nexus turrets already getting chunked low as APA's comfortable there on the front line. Thanatos the same, goes for the Pathmaker, trying to knock Gak, goes back. Thanatos does take a lot of damage from the turret, but still nowhere close to dead. Second Nexus turret already gone. FlyQuest, there's nothing they can do from this position. 29 minutes into the game, 13,000 gold lead, 18-4. C9 smacked them in game 1.
Lounge, how good are Cloud9? Yeah, that was definitely painful for FlyQuest. It's okay though. Game number 2.
Yeah, clean
new
slate.
game, new opportunities, Flowers.
The gold lead is gone. We're back to even standings here.
Remember in the previous series, they also lost game number 1 pretty heavily and then bounced back, and they were able to actually win game number 2. So let's check in on that resilience from this FlyQuest team as we continue. Remember, this has the possibility of going deeper into Fearless, you know, full 5 possibility here, best of 5. So we'll really whittle down on some more of these champions. Last game, big topic was APA receiving 3 bans from FlyQuest, but they have chopped that down just to the Ziggs ban remaining targeting APA.
Yeah, but that Ziggs is always going to be the top priority ban against this guy. He is an absolute menace on the champ. So let's see what we've got. The Pantheon and the Nautilus alongside the Ziggs, as Orianna is going to continue to remain banned on the C9 side. The Varus going to get banned out here too. I'm curious if they will remove Azir from the pool.
Azir's up, and as is Talia, so... we can see a trade there instead of kind of we talked about Ryze is off the table now as a potential mid lane trade there. We talked about Orianna being on the ban list, which I think is just a solid ban. It's one of Quad's best champions. He's really, really good on that pick. And so we'll see what FlyQuest value first.
It's dangerous. If they go Azir, then you think Cloud9 would respond with like Taliyah plus Vi. Would be a very, very strong answer because APA is super good on Taliyah and combos really well with Vi, even with Pantheon being banned. Last time around, you know, they did open up with that Ambessa flex pick. This time around, I mean, Renekton is very good blind regardless, and it's a Thanatos main champion, so even though it's just a hover, definitely not surprised they locked that one in.
Yeah, I'm not surprised with it at all. I think it's one of those things where you're like, okay, you guys have already picked Azir, so even if we want Taliyah, it's not like she's really a flex right now. So it's not like FlyQuest are going to steal that away, deny that pick from you, so you can just go for the powerful solo laner with the Renekton instead. Maybe pick up the Vi here or get whatever else it is you might want. Nope, it'll be the Taliyah.
Yep. Yeah, I was wondering if potentially they go for Blabber's jungle pick. But no, I'm 99.999% certain that Taliyah will be going to APA. We don't really flex Taliyah in the jungle anymore. So yeah, we'll see if they do want to partner that up with the Vi, or if that's something that FlyQuest are thinking of potentially picking away. We see some hovers going down for Griffin.
Yeah, it's looking like a front-to-back comp here for FlyQuest for sure. When you start out with your Azir, you've got one of the best scaling carries here, AP carries for mid lane. They've got the brick wall in the front lane already, so just fill out the rest of the comp, 5-on-5, front to back here, and see if they can get some of those objective fights going for themselves.
Yeah, and I like that for FlyQuest as we see the Trundle locked in for Fly preemptively. That is a really nice pick.
Yep, more front
for
to back
them to pick up. Yep.
Just further makes you win, means opponent team, anybody who goes in, whoever's the front line, Renekton or Vi, you get hit with a Trundle ult and you evaporate. So again, as long as Quad and Masu play safe and they can try and have like front to back steady battle lines, then that's where FlyQuest want to approach it. So it means for Cloud9, we do end up getting the duo that we were talking about in the opener, and it means that they're going to have to, you know, surgically remove some of these carries and put some pressure on through playmaking here. They definitely will have opportunities to play the map a little bit as well.
Yeah, I'm looking for them to potentially separate out team fights, try to make it into smaller skirmishes, because already the 5v5 potential of what FlyQuest have done, and like you already pointed out, Kobe, their ability to stop what C9's composition already wants to do, especially with that Trundle, is going to be formidable.
And you can see the Senna ban coming in for C9, respecting that pick to potentially cause even more problems in these situations where you're doing front-to-back team fights, and she has so much range, and the healing keeps everybody going for so long. So that's taken off the table. Bard also removed by Fly.
Yeah, and that's a strong ban, just a strong overall pick. Also a Vulcan special. We've seen what he can do on that champion.
And I think FlyQuest are worried about what Cloud9 can do in the early game, and then can they transition it into playing side lanes later. So they don't want like Bard blowing people's flashes a lot and like creating openings where C9 can pick them off or put pressure there. And Bard also does some weird stuff with magical journeys where your timing window where you get attacked is a lot quicker. And so yeah, trying to remove some of those things that are going to upset your objective of scaling into some regular team fights, and try and take out some of the wild cards.
All right, last ban still got to come in here for FlyQuest, as C9 will remove the Ezreal alongside the Senna there. Rakan is the ban for FlyQuest. So C9, how creative are we going to get here? How are you going to solve the scaling conundrum that is FlyQuest draft?
Get some winning lanes and just snowball on them super hard would be my assumption here. They have Renekton, should push top lane. They've got Taliyah, should have comfortable early stage in mid lane. And if you can get a good bottom lane here for Sven and Vulcan, ooh, Yunara hyper carry here. Last time we saw Sven on Yunara, he was very aggressive with it. Are they also this time going to pair it with a Lulu? Last time they had the Enchanter with it.
Yeah, I was going to say there are a lot more enchanters open on this draft in particular. We still have the Lulu available. We didn't see the same kind of focus coming out from the ban phase. Aphelios locked in. I do wonder if they're just going to go with the Aphelios Thresh. They had confidence on it before, but no, we see the Lulu hover. And Aphelios also just does super, super well with Enchanter picks as a hyper carry threat. With the Lulu locked in, this would be such a formidable 5v5 composition that's also like really easy to execute. And there we go. Lulu locked in, so that's a kind of a takeaway. We see the Nami locked in for Vulcan as the response also banned in game 1. So we still have the 2v2 bot lanes going with those enchanters, as we've talked about kind of the rise of that because you are spending so much more time in this bottom lane.
And I have to say, I think Cloud9 are definitely going to have control of the early game here. And so all they really have to focus on is, okay, let's win our early stage and then snowball effectively to not let this Cloud9, 5-on-5 dream late game get to their scaling. As long as, or excuse me, FlyQuest are the ones with the, the scaling there for later. So, I mean, Yunara plus Nami is very strong level 1. If you let Yunara stack her Q up and they can just run at you. So I expect Cloud9 to have some pushing lanes and they can just play around it once again.
Yep, C9 is just going to have to also make sure that they're mindful of mid-game blunders. Sometimes, even if you get a lead, you can play a little bit too aggressively, open up an opportunity for that steamroll to come to a screeching halt. And up against Sion, up against Azir, that is a very dangerous proposition. FlyQuest knows if they can just scale this one all the way forward, it should be nigh on impossible to beat them in a straight-up fight later on in the game. Lulu's so effective at keeping people alive. Azir and Aphelios both just do so much damage. And I still just don't think there's any brick wall in League of Legends quite built like a Sion.
No, he is pretty great for that. Yeah.
Little bit.
He's alternatively constructed.
Yes, sir. All right, let's see what we get here at level 1. If anything, probably a whole lot of nothing. Last time we were caught off guard a little bit by the fact that they were willing to fight over the earlier crab versus the level 6 one like we were anticipating, but maybe that'll change here this time around. Looks like both junglers are planning on starting the top side of the rift here again.
And bottom side, Masu using his green gun really effectively early. You see them take over brush control. They cleared out the C9 ward in the brush, and then they themselves ward both brushes. Another one goes down though, so fighting pretty heavily over it, and Sven gets pushed off the wave, so he can't continue to stack his Q up there on Yunara. Aphelios using that green gun range.
Okay, Masu and Cryogen wanting to play aggressive here nice and early as 80 carries are getting knocked down below half HP. Summoner spells being used, Sven with the Ghost, Vulcan with the heal, same thing on the other side. So all 4 flashes still intact, but nothing else.
Yeah, and it just shows you how important Cryo is in this bottom lane, right? Like really, really nice scrapping coming out of Masu and Cryogen to kind of push back against the potential of the Yunara level 1, and they will hit level 2 first in this lane, which again is so important because you look at what pushing lanes you want the Vi, who once again started on the top side of the map. We are looking at both junglers kind of potentially coming down to the bot side here.
And it's pretty easy for Trundle to play these fights early on before Vi has ultimate. Very easy for Trundle to play the fights, so you have to be careful. Like if the Vi wants to play off some of these, like you're gonna have to hit a charged up Q to have a strong effect in it. Vulcan, of course, with the sustain with Nami, is feeling pretty comfortable there for Cloud9, so they take the onslaught, and then Vulcan's able to you try and bunch up the wave a little bit to get them focused on one minion, just like we saw there. So they all focus that one melee minion and starts to slowly eat away and move back towards you. So just a little bit of work to group up the minion wave will go a long way. And get it going back here. So Cole purchases for both of them. After the early fighting here, everybody ends up fairly even, and Blabber's going to take his reset because he doesn't want to tango with an early Trundle. It is just too scary there, so as a Vi, you got to get out of there to the other side of the map, and this time, thankfully, we do have the early Scuttle Crab trade instead of fight to the death.
Yeah, as soon as Blabber immediately went for the recall after the camp, you know that he was not willing to fight for the crab this time here. Quick burst of about half the health bar there onto Sven, and the timing here feels really good for FlyQuest since Sven and Vulcan only just got back to lane, and now they're forced to lane with not a very impressive health bar. Blabber wants to make a move here onto quad in mid lane. Seismic Shove is going to force out the flash from the Azir.
Yeah, and that's really big. We'll see if Blabber is going to want to be able to follow up on that with quad down his flash. But down on the bot side, I really did like that look from Griffin. Kobe, you already pointed out how good Trundle can kind of be setting up for these early skirmishes. And now FlyQuest have really taken good control over this bot lane.
And I also want to point out the timing window when you go for plays like we just saw is so critical. The value from Blabber as we get a double bubble.
Ooh, nice hit there from Vulcan as he and Sven want to see how much more they can get out of this trade. But Masu doing a good job there, using the Infernum to hit the minions, get a little bit of extra damage onto Sven as Cryogen flashes forward, forces that trade of summoner spells with the C980 carry.
Okay, so we do end up with 2-for-1 flashes, but lower health bars for Cloud9. So Vulcan hits a very nice double bubble. However, nobody dies, and it's just going to be the extra flash that they get in advance. But back to the efficiency of Blabber, you know, that window, while his second camps are respawning, there's nothing else for him to gain gold or experience on. So he just waits around mid lane, and his threat puts so much extra emphasis on the seismic shove that we saw thrown there that you actually get an immediate flash out of that seismic shove. It is just super high value there for APA, and no flash on quad. Let's see if they can actually play off of it. Little sneak into the back of that dragon pit.
This is a really early Drake take, and they're going to get it with APA coming down and helping him out a little bit.
I like that a lot. Griffin, you saw him lumbering around nearby in the river, thinking about maybe going towards mid lane, but C9 just instead going to put their focus on the Drake. Recall that in game number 1, they also got a pre-6-minute first Drake in that one, so they have very solid early control over these objectives so far in this series.
Yeah, and we talked about the importance for C9 to be kind of looking for these small early plays to set them up really well. So we have our crab timer once again counting down, and we will see.
Which is super cool, but because Blabber got the dragon, guess what? He's already level 6, so a sneak on dragon before crab even spawns makes it not fair. Look at Griffin on the minimap. He is at the crab, but
Blabber
Blabber's
goes in, he wants to make the ulti happen, and they immediately full send onto Masu. The damage is down, and Sven's getting paid with first blood.
I swear, man, like Blabber is just it's just a masterclass. Like I feel like every series they have versus FlyQuest, Blabber is just performing so well. I mean, sneaking a dragon with Vi is one of the best champions to sneak it with. Not only can you just queue over the back of the pit and traverse walls, but your denting blow is very good at actually taking them efficiently and quickly. And then that rushes you to your level 6, as we just said before he goes for it. Then he gets his level 6, and he's like, yeah, I know you're going to go for the crab, but I am the original crab-focused jungler. I've died for crabs before you were even a pro player, and I'm going to get your bottom lane while you're going for it. And it's just beautiful. His first ult, seconds after he gets access to it, he uses on Masu, takes down the enemy Aphelios that had no flash from the early trading that they were doing before. I mean, it's just, man, he drew it all up perfectly, Flowers.
It's a good start there for C9. We'll see if they can continue snowballing forward, because that was the name of the game, like we're talking about in draft. If you just have a nice, slow, calm, methodical game of League of Legends, FlyQuest is probably going to win in most situations, because that's what their comp is designed to do. So Blabber's going to need to keep that pedal to the metal, keep things hectic. You can see it's about 30 seconds until the Void Grub spawn. Last game, there was only this one single grub taken. They have really fallen from grace compared to last year.
Yeah, as I was telling you early on, I think those things suck now. It is funny, though. I honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, every Cloud9 versus FlyQuest series, it feels like we've been invited into like a little jungle classroom where Blabber has been told that Griffin is like the young Blabber, and Blabber's like, all right, let me teach you a couple things, nephew.
There's definitely some learning going on. If the series keeps going like it did in the first game, Griffin is going to show up here around mid. Just clears out that control ward there real quick. Make laning a little bit scarier for APA on the Taliyah. Quad. Ooh, hold on now. Bottom lane. Yeah, we got some more bubble action going down as Vulcan wants to make this fight happen, but now Sven's going to be careful. He's going to die. Masu gets the kill. Both junglers also showing up into the fight, but it's Blabber who's now in danger. The Vault Breaker back into the river to try to get away, but it won't matter because Quad has arrived. FlyQuest find a fight, and they find it in style. APA, seismic shove onto Masu in the very back end of things. Wants to try to see if he can get a kill back, but no. FlyQuest get away with it.
Yeah, and we saw Sven so comfortable to kind of play forward. Up.
Hold on, APA's not done just yet. Cryogen might be the target instead. Seismic shove flashed away, so he is going to get an extra summoner spell from the FlyQuest bot lane here, but critically no return kill.
Yeah, and I mean, APA kind of resetting so Sven can come back, hopefully gather up this wave. But what a nice turnaround coming out of FlyQuest. And there, I think you still see the power of this bot lane with the Aphelios, Lulu working together.
200 years and white gun.
And a Lulu.
White gun. Look at the chakrams that he stacks up here. So yeah, it's great in this season. You're like, oh, I hit my bubble. Oh, great. Yeah, I just got infinite chakrams from my ultimate. Masu, as soon as he gets out of the CC chain, pops the Aphelios ultimate, spinning with all these extra chakrams. And since Blabber was on the way trying to gank also, he's another casualty. Griffin does a good job making sure there's no escape for the Vi. He blocks him off from the front.
Trolled it so hard, sorry.
Yeah, you walk up so confidently because like, ooh, we hit him with bubble into Nami wave, but then you're point blank. you're point blank in the face of this Aphelios. You got polymorphed, and then you also get Aphelios ultimate, and this guy is just 200 years of damage worth in an instant.
And I feel like if you're on FlyQuest, you're feeling so much better about things after that play. Again, slowing the game down, making it so C9 doesn't feel like they're the ones always making the decisions in terms of where the action is happening. Quad is going to just walk down here into the river real quick, fire off the Scryer's Bloom, lay down a control ward. APA on the Taliyah, trying really hard to get something on the back end of that previous fight, but falling just short of the damage he needed to make it happen. We'll see if he can find some more value out of a future Weaver's Wall. Does have about 1/4 of the cooldown left on that one, and the next Drake is alive. FlyQuest have control over the river for now.
Yeah, and you see C9 are headed here though on this Drake timers. Griffin's gonna clear out some vision. And Thanatos is also in a really good spot and headed up through the bot lane.
Yeah.
So we'll see as these lane assignments kind of go down. That's the important part for me too, because we just saw him dirty farming on that top side.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the Sion has ultimate too, and so Gakkos here has a line for a Sion ult into this dragon fight.
Yeah, Vulcan immediately going to be met by Griffin right outside of the brush. Wild growth of the FlyQuest jungler, and Blabber is just eradicated. There's no chance for C9 to get anything back there as Griffin once again kept alive. This Lulu doing a whole lot of work. Everybody tries to go back in now on the C9 angle. Masu just barely gets away. The Weaver's Wall, it knocks him to the other side, and there's just not quite enough damage. FlyQuest get everybody out. They get the objective. They get what they came for.
They wanted to get onto Masu, but Masu escapes in the end. And again, really, really nicely done from FlyQuest. They're able to kind of muscle in, and that kind of flank from the Renekton that we were anticipating from the way he went bot side to set up for the potential Drake fight. They immediately burst down Blabber, and that just goes absolutely nowhere.
Yeah, you know, focusing someone down with the Trundle ultimate, like we're kind of talking about, this is the revenge here for Griffin, revenge arc in the last couple plays. He has been able to corner Blabber, make sure he couldn't escape from the previous play, and then this one, he's lying in the bushes, he starts onto Vulcan, and then even with the Nami ultimate getting absorbed into a bubble on him, again, polymorph onto Blabber. The Lulu value here has been really big into, you know, ultimate popped on him. He just gets burned down. Gakkos did a good job immuning the Nami wave, by the way, with his ult. And then there's nothing else to say here. It says Masu is getting a little bit of luck on top of the good plays that he's doing. So barely able to escape with his life there. Nice little bump from the wall. And here we go. This is why we were hyped for this matchup. I'm glad that we're seeing, you know, Griffin fighting back very well in this game because these two junglers are #1 and #2 in so many stats in the early stages of the lock-in tournament.
And we talked about how valuable this Trundle pick was going to be in the draft. It stops so much of what FlyQuest want to do, and that on top of the Lulu was really the difference maker in that last fight. And now, as we see C9 trying to find something on this bot side.
Yeah, Cryogen's the target there for APA, but can't quite secure anything to force out some summoner spells as well. FlyQuest are going in for their 1v3 dive up here in the top lane. Griffin staying alive once more. They get their man. Thanatos drops for the first time this game.
Yeah, and we're just trading sides a little bit. FlyQuest recognizing with C9 so far pushed up on that bot side, they can attempt and make the dive onto the Renekton. And now we will see that TP coming down to defend this turret. APA coming top.
Yeah, APA rides the Weaver's Wall all the way to the end there, wants to continue chasing after Griffin, throws another rock, but he'll need one more, and he finds it. There's your shutdown. APA's on the board.
And we talked about how deadly APA can also be on this Taliyah. It really, I think, lends itself to how well APA sees the map overall. He's always kind of been the type of mid laner to look for these potential side lane plays. We saw him trying to get something out of that lost play on bot side. Now recognizes he can get something top side, and the race for first turret take is on.
Okay, all 3 grubs possessed by FlyQuest for a little bit of extra edge in that race. Thanatos continues just trying to survive, but FlyQuest will deny it. They burst him down before Vulcan's tidal wave can even arrive. This is buying a little bit longer for C9 to try to win the turret race. APA auto attack after auto attack into this top lane tier 1. Has the minion wave right next to him, and it will be first turret for C9, immediately traded back by Quad in bottom lane.
Yeah, Flowers, the gold may look close here, and dragons are split, but I think that's a good state for FlyQuest.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
With Aphelios and Azir in fairly good positions. The thing is, Masu did, like the gap between Sven and Masu in gold has widened because FlyQuest went for the topside play, you know, and they're kind of trading back and forth sides of the map. But I don't think it's going to be too problematic for him. We'll see, though, if this extra gold advantage for Yunara really turns into something. Cloud9 can try and snowball with a Rift Herald take here.
Okay.
Turn that into some turret plates guaranteed for them. But Gakkos doesn't want to let him have it for free.
Immediately over the wall with a blast cone. Gakkos is going to lead the way. Herald is slain by Blabber, but the eyeball is still in the river. FlyQuest move in time to force C9 back and deny them from being able to pick up the eye.
Big difference is, look at the bottom lane on the mini map there. It is pushing Renekton by himself. So Sion does not have teleport or ultimate now since the ult was used in the fight. So at the moment, you know, Thanatos is at least going to be able to, you know, kill off the cannon minion here, presumably into the tower, and finish up this tower. He has died in 2 consecutive, like, replays that we have showed for him, but, you know, at least he's going to get a tower here out of the play since the team was able to escape from that Rift Herald topside.
Yeah, I think they're still trying to look for that first team fight with, you know, the complete Renekton flank, but deciding it's not worth it to fight that fight at Rift Herald, give up the eye, and now FlyQuest are immediately on to Drake, pretty much at spawn.
Yep, and there's no response from C9, so this is yet another objective going the FlyQuest direction. Griffin can pick that one up, no problem, as Cryogen and Quad are going to look for some more vision behind enemy lines.
And it points out just how crucial that second Drake take was for them to be able to stop the stacking, for them to be able to get into a good position with this scaling composition, where we really enjoyed the Blabber sneak around to get the first early Drake, right? I thought that was really good from C9, but FlyQuest's response, especially on this bot side of the map, have been really, really good. And now, again, we talked about how these compositions go up against each other. They're in a really, really great spot. Uh-oh.
Okay, Griffin might not be in the best of spots. He has enough time to try to ult defensively, but there's just too much damage in the C9 lineup. Sven ends up taking the kill there, as now Quad has to try to get back over the wall, but Blabber's ulti is ready to follow. Quad goes for the flash to try to escape with the blast cone, and yes, he will, but C9 are keeping the pressure on.
Yeah, good pick from Cloud9. They know they need to take apart,
Hold on, Masu there kind of tempting fate a little bit. The Arc of Ruin slows him down, but he does get away from the seismic shove.
Blabber.
Now Blabber with the wraparound play. Wants to go in for the Vault Breaker. Thinking about it here. Tidal Wave crashes through. Seismic shove won't find a target, and C9 backs up.
Yeah, so they're just going to get some damage on that mid turret, but good pick in the topside jungle, leading to further damage on the mid turret, some more kills into their pocket. I'm sorry I cursed you, Griffin.
Yeah, it was a nice little spot. Blabber had been able to sneak through the jungle, so Fog of War over your own red buff wall there. Nice Vi Q from Blabber, and the combo with Blabber and APA right now is what is really working for Cloud9. Off of that, Sven also getting paid.
Yep.
So, Yunara is hyped up as a very strong hyper carry in the current meta for a reason. Let's see what Sven can do this game. He lands a slow on Masu.
A lot of pressure on Masu, but he again just barely misses out on having the damage to kill the Aphelios. Now Sven and Vulcan have to be mindful as Griffin shows up. Cryogen reinforcing his AD carry here. The Wild Growth is also still available to cast. C9 and FlyQuest both sending top laners to the mid lane scrap now as C9 want to continue keeping the pressure on. This tier 1 turret is very close to death. Gatkos tries to clear the way with the decimating smash. The Scion is very large. He steps forward, C9 steps backward, and the push stops.
I was gonna say, you talked about what was it? There's no
Alternative
better
construction?
there's no better brick wall. The alternative construction of Scion coming in clutch there. You could see they both pulled TPs into the mid lane, and while there wasn't a fight, they are able to stop this kind of aggressive C9 push. But I love that it seemed like Sven was listening in on Kobe, recognizing his power as this Yunara and getting so much damage down onto Masu.
Yeah, playing aggressively here through mid, and Thanatos seeing if anyone's going to walk up to mess with the AD carry battles. These honorable AD carry battles where they stare at each other and the wave until...
Sven jumps in, Arc of Ruin forces out the flash plus Wild Growth combo. No ghost there for Masu any longer either. Sven is punishing him every time he steps up.
Yeah, Sven is really, really using the Yunara to make so much space in this mid lane, and that will net them that tier 1 mid lane turret that they were looking for earlier, potentially opening up the map a little bit further for C9.
So for FlyQuest, earlier on we were saying, hey, this game is feeling pretty good, right? You've slowed things down, you've made a couple of plays, but now C9 has fought their way back into a sizable lead. If you're FlyQuest, are you sweating at a 2,500 gold lead C9, or do you still feel pretty comfortable?
I'd be sweating a bit,
Yeah.
Especially with their track record versus Cloud9 specifically. I definitely would be sweating because look at APA. He has potential, huge potential to burst somebody down. So you really have to be on top of all your warding. Blabber doing his best efforts to dismantle the warding structure of FlyQuest so they continue to look for these picks. And with the Vi combo, with this Taliyah, having Actualizer, having the extra needlessly large rod here, for APA's huge burst potential. So there are a lot of plays where Cloud9 can attack you if you're transitioning between objectives or trying to go through jungle. And I think that's exactly what they're going to do. They're cleaning a lot of the vision and looking for these opportunities.
They're also moving down potentially on this bot side of the map, try to stop now FlyQuest from getting onto the Drake Soul Point, first kind of stealing away this blue buff. And I'm not sure if FlyQuest are even going to contest this. They just seem to be content to...
Whoa.
Oh.
Content to start a Baron instead?
I was going to say content to take top tier 1, but no, they're just starting Baron.
And they're showing the Azir still. So you think, oh, with Azir DPS showing on a lane, they're probably not on it, right? And they pull off. Masu is shooting it over the back of the wall there, but sometimes, trying to do those sneaks when you show one of your big DPS champs going down a lane. Maybe we can trick somebody. Regardless, Blabber on the other side of the map does get the dragon. He leaves the crab for the Scion, though.
Okay, the Scion's the target. Gatkos loses half his HP immediately. Tries to ult defensively and can't get all the way out, so now he's got a flash. The damage from C9 still not enough to kill him off here just yet. Masu staying alive, but APA has made his way into the fight. Griffin is down, so is Masu, and C9 just found 2 big kills.
And crucially, the Lulu ult was not there for Masu, right? So APA is immediately able to get onto him with the Talia.
And Vi with denting blows and Black Cleaver is a very good tank killer. Look at the Scion. He had stacked so much armor. Sunfire and the Thornmail and those boots as well, like so much
Where did it all
shred.
go?
So yeah,
Shredded on the ground.
Blabber immediately shredded all of it, turned on the sign. He left the crab, by the way, to turn for the sign because he knew.
He's learning, yeah.
He knew.
Exactly.
He knew. What is this guy doing here?
That's just how important it was.
He was like, you're not really a tank in my face. And he immediately goes for him, shreds this Shine. I saw him approaching on the ward, and so he went for the Q, used his ultimate, because he had Sven there. So you shred all the armor, and you've got this Yunara that is so strong. They still had to really squeeze, and the Lulu ult was used on him, but because all these resources are used in running away, you lost your Aphelios and you lost your Trundle. Yeah, you saved the Scion like walking away, but 2 casualties on top of the Dragon, and Cloud9 are pushing that gold leaf flowers, making you sweat even more because they turn it not only into a Dragon, not only into a Baron, but now into Tower Gold on top of it.
If I'm wearing a green jersey here, I'm asking somebody to turn the AC on. It's getting a little bit too hot in here to be comfortable when C9 is up 5,000 gold with a Baron, pushing 2 lanes of tier 2 turrets. FlyQuest is trying to get something back up there to the top side as Griffin wants to move forward, but he should not have moved there. Vulcan ends up taking the kill credit. Trundle's dead again, and the C9 War Machine pushes on. FlyQuest now in a 4v5 until Griffin respawns, but that's 30 seconds away. Quad still working on the tier 2 there in the top lane, and again, Moss is going to be a target. He dies even through his own flash. Our C9 just looking to end this game. Blabber will get knocked decently low here, but there's just no damage left on the FlyQuest side.
Yeah, I mean, why give FlyQuest another window to get into the game? They should at least be able to get both of these turrets. Definitely an inhib.
Yep, that bottom lane inhibitor is the target for now. APA forced to flash at the range of Decimating Smash, but again, Gekko's, he's just not tanky enough to deal with these guys when he gets bursted down on the front line. Griffin has finally made his way back into the fight, and he's right back out. All of these FlyQuest deaths happening after the flashes, and now Quad getting caught by Blabber. The game might have just ended. Bottom lane inhibitor is going to get knocked down next. C9 pushing towards the Nexus turrets. Masu wants to try to defend it there with the Moonlight Vigil, but he doesn't do enough damage. The double kill for Sven's Yunara as he knocks the turret down right next to it. Thanatos slicing and dicing his way forward, and Masu is just dead again. Cryogen will join him in the graveyard. 25 minutes on the clock. C9 said scaling be damned and crushed the second game.
That Drake fight was so C9 in terms of how they just dismantled the game. So it just proves how dangerous it can be to make these mistakes against Cloud9.
Also, bans are not really working against APA. This APA guy,
he's still getting stuff he's good at.
This guy is still putting in a lot of work. I don't know, but at least they've dropped it down to just the one though, the Ziggs.
Yep.
Got the Ziggs.
Imagine how bad it would be if he got the Ziggs.
It's already pretty bad. We'll see what FlyQuest can do here in this third one, as we are once again going to see that Karma banned out. That Enchanter has been kept off the table all series long. Cassio, the respect ban against Quad. So both mid laners having some targets on their back in this one, as Varus remains banned and Pantheon is also out again.
Yeah, most notably though, the Orianna is up as a potential. We've talked about how good Quad is at that champ. And with FlyQuest having last pick, we see C9 already picking it away, picking up that Ori for APA. But with FlyQuest having last pick, I'm really wondering what they want to do.
And this is what I was looking for. Where is the Nocturne gonna go? Because you can't give over both of them.
Nope.
And so you can construct the Nocturne comp without Orianna though anyways. You know, you have multiple flankers. Aurora definitely is a good one to go engage with Nocturne. So FlyQuest looks like they're going to be drafting a dive, heavy engage comp here to work off of Nocturne timers, turn out the lights, and have multiple people engage from different angles.
Okay, Wukong next to that Orianna. I like that combo. Wukong can just...
So I called it the Shock Kong last time. I thought that was...
The Shock Kong?
Yeah, Shock Kong. It's a Shockwave and a Wukong.
I mean, I guess it's better than Woo Wave.
But Kangas, hey, all I'm saying, Kangas liked it, okay?
Okay.
Kangas had Shopify Rebellion at number
that
one,
was going
bro.
to be, I didn't want to say it, but Flowers did. As we see the Bard locked in for Vulcan, we've talked about what a strong pick Bard just is generally, what a strong pick it has been for Vulcan specifically. Really great setup for whatever C9 want to do, and works really well in tandem with this little Orianna Wukong combo they have. Or the Shock Kong, as Kobe is.
I was
really
trying to
shouldn't
remember
encourage
the word
this.
he said. I couldn't remember.
It's totally better than Zahungle, at least.
So, I like Zahungle. It makes me laugh.
Zahungle is also, they can both be bad.
Well, regardless,
True.
we did get more of what we expected with the, building multiple divers with Nocturne, another assassin here, another diver. So the idea is whenever you're giving over Orianna, you want to, number one, make sure she can never play side lanes, which is usually easy and very easy when you have a Nocturne and an Akali matchup. And you want to put a lot of pressure on her flash. So I think this is adequate. This is what you're supposed to do. Now you just have to execute and try to attack these low mobility carries. That's why I like the early Bard. You get Bard in the first 3 picks here instead of leaving it for later, because Bard is one of those supports that can provide counter engages to dives.
Yep.
Even the most heavy of dives, if you get a defensive Bard ultimate, then you buy more time for the Orianna. She can get another cooldown of shield activation when she comes out, and hopefully survive that way. So probably we'll see some defensive usage of Bard ultimate here, not just offensive Bard looks like you see a lot of the time.
Okay, Yorick banned out. That's an interesting one. Not normally something you see on the ban list, but it is something that FlyQuest seems to be a little bit concerned with, alongside banning away the Ezreal. Nautilus also banned out here with C9.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's something they saw in scrims. Yorick has this kind of insane side lane pressure that we've seen C9 like to set up, but they remove both the Nautilus and the Rakan, which are 2 things that I think would have worked really, really well for this Nocturne, Akali, and Aurora dive. Callista coming in.
Here we go. You know how to dive even harder? You get someone who can just throw your support in there too.
Bowling ball.
Get a support in there as well. Everybody's going in. We got short range, don't care, because we're going to be all over you.
Let's see what they'll pick next to it, but first we've got to see the C9 choices. I think Sven's Yunara last game was very impressive. He certainly seems locked in right now, but what do they want to lock in against all of this dive with the Ezreal banned out? There's a couple defensive safe options. Sivir is going to be the choice.
Yeah, scales super, super well, fits really well into this comp, and as we see the Gnar hover coming out of Thanatos, something that he's...
blind.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good blind. It's something that we know he's super, super comfortable on, really likes it.
I say that, and I'm like, oh yeah, they already have Aurora.
They could, yeah, actually.
Gnar is also historically a good blind champion. You didn't say anything false.
Exactly. It doesn't mean it is in this case, where it's being picked into an Aurora, so all good.
Not the Yuumi hover.
Shout out to LCK.
Yeah, we saw it. Look, she died immediately. I was very happy about that. But the Renata, okay. So I do like the Renata pick as, again, kind of a counter to some of the engage potential that specifically the Wukong has, trying to stop that Wukong-Orianna combo. I mean, this comp from FlyQuest, if it gets going, is just so, so deadly for assassinating whatever target they want to jump on.
Yeah, I mean, clearly, last game, they're like, all right, we're not going to have a lot of our own initiative, we have a lot of scaling, we don't have a lot of our own go buttons, so now we're going to go fully the other way.
Yeah.
So
Throw
now
all of that in the trash.
Let's just go, everybody dive. We're going to put a lot of pressure out on the Orianna specifically. And let's see, FlyQuest, can they change up the gears here to change up the series? Because they have no more extra chances. It is must win now to stay in.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I really like this for FlyQuest just because I feel like when this new FlyQuest roster has succeeded, it has been by having their own agency and being willing to make potentially risky plays with success. So I am very curious to see how they pilot out this composition.
Well, I especially want to see how well they can make all of these plays, how fast they can keep the tempo of this game. I think Blabber has been the far superior jungler here in this series. I think the same was true when we just saw them play a best of 3 last week. So Griffin's going to really have to step up if he wants to be able to turn this series around.
Yeah, if he can get a lead as Nocturne here, it puts out so much pressure. You know, a lot of things I think are going to revolve around Nocturne ult timers. As we see the bottom lane. You know what? Minions are overrated. Let's get in there.
Yeah.
Let's get that rend down early.
Oof.
Yep, there it is. Chunks out of health bars back and forth, and Sven is the one who takes the worst of it. Barrier and heal down for both sides. All flashes still intact for now, but Cryogen and Masu do not want to allow Sven and Vulcan close to this wave. It was Cryo and Masu who were on the receiving end of the lane bullying a couple games ago. This time around, they want to do some bullying of their own.
Mission successful then,
Yep.
Flowers, because Sven has been bullied. Bullying successful.
Bullied all the way back home. Poor dude. All right, he's making his way back to the lane now. But, you know that the reset is bad when you just can't even buy an item.
Yeah, no,
right?
that feels awful. Like,
not
it's
even a
literally just for
glowing
health.
moat.
Yeah. Ugh. Sorry.
The item that's so disgusting that you have to go ugh to it, but Sven's making his way back into the lane now, and as we're waiting for the early game to develop further, we've got Azael standing by for an interview with ThinkCard.
Thanks, Flowers. Here with ThinkCard. Talk to me a bit about how the series has been going and what you guys talked about changing to try to turn things around.
Yes, so honestly, like between game 1 and game 2, we kind of got a lot more comfortable, especially like with the early game, but you can tell that mid-game, C9 is a bit more decisive and understand how to push sides, then our map state starts to fall apart. So this game, we gave us a little bit more agency. Nocturne Aurora, like you can kind of take most fights, especially with the Akali, and then Calista Renata is going to have a lot of tempo. So hopefully we're able to stack some dragons, and we need confidence on our timers. Because right now, especially when you play against these veterans, like they choke you out and it feels like you don't really get to play the game. So looking for some confidence.
So talk to me about this draft then specifically. Obviously, it's really aggressive, a lot of kind of a dive, a lot of assassins. Is this comfort for the team, or is this something that you felt like they needed to play more just for early game power?
A little bit of both. We definitely practiced this comp a few times. I would say the main thing, it's a little bit disrespectful. Like the Orianna should be pretty happy in lane against Quad, but we think Quad's playing pretty well. So, if he can get it through lane and then get to these team fights, especially once he's level 6, then we're going to have a lot of value, but looks like it's not going that well.
Well, we'll see. Flowers, take it back.
For FlyQuest, a beautiful double binding coming out from Vulcan's Bard as Masu now might just drop to the boomerang blade. FlyQuest fans, avert your eyes. It's too violent to look.
That's exactly why we speak so highly of Vulcan's Bard. Already seeing it in action here with that sick double binding. Once again, C9 is there to back up Blabber on his crab initiative down on this bot side.
So, about that gaining confidence in game number 3, Flowers.
And playing through bot lane tempo and dragons.
Okay, they did initially play through bot lane tempo.
At level 1, yeah, I'll give that. I like the level 1. I liked what I saw at level 1.
Yeah.
But what I saw right there is a concerning trend if you want to have bottom lane control.
It's concerning, especially since now Sven is returning to lane with a BF sword.
Yeah, okay. First
so his
purchase,
first
he didn't get to buy
was nothing.
anything.
Now he gets the BF sword.
Well. How to turn tables.
Now it's a sword to a dagger.
Hey, it's a dagger and a potion.
A dagger and a bottle. Okay, let's take a look at this though. Because Spell Shield goes off now for Griffin. He used it really early, and Vulcan's like, you're not getting away with that. Beautiful there to grab both of them with his binding and his flash. And then, as you know, Masu also didn't escape, like trying to get back to tower. He flashes and still dies as well. And it's 2 kills into APA's Orianna. Double buffs on the Orianna. Holy!
Yeah, they're playing a bullet hell at this point.
Yeah.
I swear, even APA feels bad for them. I think APA
No, he
even
was
feels bad.
laughing.
Yeah, he feels bad for them.
He was laughing.
Yeah, he's laughing at them. He's like, oh man.
That's not feeling.
You don't think so? I think he feels bad for them. That's why he's laughing.
I think he feels good about his state in this game. He was already doing really well in that lane, had shoved the Akali to turret, and
he
now
thinks it's
has
hilarious.
2 kills. Yeah.
Yeah, this is okay. At least FlyQuest are still going for this first Drake. We'll see if they can manage to secure that. The problem here, Monster's at only 300 HP. It's very hard for Kalista to walk over and do anything about this. In game number 2, I mentioned how both of our games so far, C9 took first Drake before 6 minutes. And it looks like here in game number 3, they're poised to do the same thing again because FlyQuest, they had enough to start it up, but they didn't have the damage to finish the job. So C9 will just walk on in, say thank you very much, and claim Drake 1.
And this is so rough for this FlyQuest bot lane to lose that fight there. As we have, I feel like all of this super early action has really ruined our
Crab narrative.
Our crab narrative.
Good try,
here.
production. Good try. I know you want to see a crab fight, but too bad because C9 says they win every fight before the third crab comes. So you're just going to see Blabber with a large stick versus a defenseless crab.
Oh.
Especially after we had that little cute graphic with the crab, too. I feel kind of bad for him getting beat over the head with a shock Kong monkey stick, whatever.
Yeah.
That was not. Let's go back to workshop.
We don't even get to see the shock part of it.
No, he's just the Kong. All right, we've got the Blabber back on his farming angle. He does have his ulti ready to go now. 2v2 here in the bottom lane. Another nice wall stun coming out there from Vulcan. Cryogen for the handshake to disengage, but it's so hard to trade when they've got BF sword and you just don't have anything close to it.
And when just Vulcan's just stunning you all the time. Jesus.
Okay, there we go. A little bit of forward aggro. Meanwhile, mid lane, it's Griffin with the paranoia looking to make the play on APA. Perfect execution from Quad to seal the deal. FlyQuest are on the board.
Not laughing anymore, is he?
Yeah, there you go.
Not so funny anymore, buddy.
So bot lane didn't go well, but really nice recognition from Griffin and FlyQuest to be able to make that play in the mid lane, try to, claw their way back into this early game. And also, more importantly, the shutdown goes directly to Quad.
Yeah, if we refocus back on what still remains true for FlyQuest, they got to play off these Nocturne timers. And so immediately, as soon as Griffin, is able to get makes a play on mid, they take down the Orianna. And as you say, getting the money into Akali is very, very influential because you can get to your burst damage that much quicker. Quad also has Dark Seal, so that means 2 stacks here for the Dark Seal for Quad off of that. So you're getting as intense of a power injection on your first Nocturne ultimate as I would say you can honestly hope for, given the state of the game.
Yeah.
So I think that was best case scenario that they could hope for, and bodes well for viewers that want to see more games.
Exactly, and bodes well for us who want to see more games as well.
Yeah.
Well, and Kobe, as a longtime jungler, you know the importance when you're playing a champion like Nocturne that feels so ulti reliant on having that first one pay those dividends that you're talking about. It looks like Masu, I don't even have time to talk about the junglers. They have killed Kalista again. C9 decide that FlyQuest's AD carry does not get to play this game.
But you can still talk about the junglers, talk about how Blabber set up that dive from his bot lane onto Masu. We saw, Griffin recognizing he could make a play in mid. As APA is typing as usual. Mid. But then Blabber recognizing, again, because this bot lane did not go initially particularly well for Masu and Cryogen after that initial scuttle fight. That is a really big point of power for C9, able to get the dive onto Masu.
Oh, he's going again. I swear, this man must think Microsoft Word is a PvP game. He is just always in there.
Chat, do you think APA is going to lose focus in this series?
From typing.
Yes. There's a simple yes or no question here.
Production will let us know what you say.
Is it going to lose focus? Because could be the case. I mean, we've all been there. You're you're winning pretty hard. Like the series is going very well for them, and this game as well. You know, they start out with so much money. It could happen.
All right, so looking at the scoreboard right now, because we have been talking about how things have gone really well for Cloud9 on this bottom half of the map. Looks like Sven is under pressure once more from Masu. Barriers for barriers, low HP now on this Sivir. So FlyQuest going to find themselves a good trade down here.
Yeah, I mean, this Renata combo is still like nothing to sneeze at in lane, right? Like they are very powerful, and they're pushing this wave in. Sven is going to go back. We'll see what he ends up picking up. Gakkos might be in trouble.
Yeah, here's what I was going to talk about earlier is top lane has been like the point of strength for FlyQuest here. This is the one spot that they're winning in, and I just immediately curse it. Thanatos chases Gakkos out of lane, finds the solo kill, uses the flash to guarantee that Gakkos won't be able to get away with those Aurora tricks. Nice moves from Thanatos.
Yeah, that's the only thing. You know exactly where the Aurora is going to bounce to. When you bounce off that wall, you're going a very predictable direction. Really nice from Thanatos, immediately investing the flash to get the kill, not leaving room for Gakkos to flash as well.
And you could see Griffin was thinking about a recall there, but the second dragon is alive. A dragon's kind of just like a high fantasy version of a crab, and C9 definitely want to maintain control over stacking these up. As Griffin goes in, Paranoia, target onto Sven, but he cannot continue diving any further forward. Cryogen and Masu both here still. Quad has made his teleport towards the fight. Tempered Fate won't hit anybody, but the Ocean Drake is already going to be claimed by Blabber. Quad wanted to get an assassination, but he can't find the angle for the damage. Knock up there as they finally secure one back onto APA, so FlyQuest will get something for their troubles, but C9 get the objective.
So, FlyQuest versus Cloud9 has been very like Cloud9 favored, but this game, FlyQuest versus APA is pretty even because APA got 2 kills on bottom lane, but FlyQuest as a team have killed him twice back. So they put a target on him, and at least they're able to get that. Of course, Cloud9 is very beneficial. Continue stacking dragons. As Vulcan, the E is attached, but he got the exhaust down.
Okay, he'll just go on his magical journey, get away. Akali does not want to follow him through that journey because Bard has some friends waiting in the Dragon Pit if she does. So Quad just all the way back underneath the turret. Now, honestly, the game in its entirety isn't super far apart. It is still a lead for C9 with the 2 Drakes. They've got 1,000 gold advantage, but FlyQuest still have moves they can make, and this is one of those moves right here. Masu and Cryogen set the trap, and Sven gets caught.
Yeah, and that's kind of quintessential of what we talked about with this FlyQuest roster. They're going to be looking for angles. They're going to be trying to find a way to get back into this game. This Kalista-Renata combo is still very, very deadly. Sven steps up a bit too far, and they're there to punish.
Yeah, hide on brush. Able to get him. They push the wave, and honestly, let's see. I mean, Cryogen should be fine here. Vulcan just doing a little harassment as he does Bard things and journeys around, but they definitely, you know, cutting that gold lead right back down. FlyQuest now just remain focused on the game plan with this Nocturne, Griffin Nocturne Ultimate, you know, coming up fairly shortly, and see what they can do on that next Nocturne ult timer, because your solo laners should be level 11s quite soon, as Vulcan now a vulnerable target, but when Akali can get level 11 as well, you know, having high potential here as far as assassination.
Looked like a little bit of a perhaps panic ulti there from Gakkos, needing to get away from Thanatos. So if we end up getting ourselves a Rift Herald fight, that cooldown could end up being very important, as items are coming online across the board here. You can see you've already got 5 stacks on APA's Rod of Ages. We just completed Experimental Hexplate for Griffin. Gunblade on Akali as well. These are 2 of the champions in the game that have these really niche items that they like to buy, but that just feel so good on the champs. Yeah,
whenever I, like, that is the Akali item, you know? Like, I don't think of any other champion when I think of Gunblade. I think of Akali. And again,
I think of Kale. Kale from back in the day.
Yeah,
used
from
to
like ancient League of Legends.
What about, what about
old,
Stanley Nidalee, if you're talking ancient?
Yes,
oh, okay.
yes.
If we want to really hop in the time machine.
Stanley Nidalee. Yes, yes, I do.
But yeah, I would agree that Akali is the #1 that probably a lot of people think of when they think of that, or there's definitely some high elo players who would pick Katarina as their answer for it, as one of the old staple Katarina builds. But we've got 15 seconds until the Rift Herald spawns. You can see Gakos hanging around the area up there, but still has about 1/3 of the cooldown left to go on the ulti. I'll be curious if FlyQuest want to try to start this objective or really aggressively posture for control without that being available yet. As there's your paranoia, Vulcan's the target, but he goes on a magical journey and just walks right back over the wall. Blabber thinking about if he needs to do a follow-up defensive engage, but no, he doesn't.
Yeah, no. And that is just going to give power over this Rift Herald to C9. They are kind of responding with the Akali, getting some turret plates down and probably taking this bot side tier 1.
Yeah, side lanes are going to be the question that Cloud9 have probably the most difficulty answering in this game, but they're going to attack side lanes right now. Gakos.
Yeah. Nice wave clear there from Gakos. Just barely got the ulti back up and then has to use it to try to survive the dive, but there's plenty of damage there between Thanatos and APA. Meanwhile, back in mid, there's Blabber going in for the Cyclone kill onto Masu, and the crushing blow does it. Griffin cannot defend the Kalista in time. Cryogen has to make sure he doesn't get caught out here. Give it binding target if he stands too close to Griffin. And C9 pick the enemy ADC in mid. Our gold is practically all tied up after Quad split pushing down there in the bottom lane, but the Rift Herald is about to rectify that situation.
Yeah, they're just going to be able to take this tier 1 mid. And again, it was nice of FlyQuest recognizing, okay, now with the Nocturnal down, we can't fight this Rift Herald. We're going to try to get plates on the bot side. We're going to try to continue to get gold onto this Akali. But then I really love that roam from APA on the top side of the map, killing off this Aurora again. And now Thanatos has kind of taken over the gold lead in that matchup.
Thanatos Gnar is scary business, man.
It is the champ he was most well known for in Challengers before he came over here. It was like, I felt like he had some shaky performances on it initially from C9, as we do see FlyQuest taking the opportunity to take this Drake and potentially remove that early stacking with APA taking this topside tier 1.
Yeah, and it's important that Thanatos is in a good spot because the Orianna is kind of the liability in the side lane. So if, wait a second.
Quad's going in for the assassination here on Blabber, but he takes him out. Nicely done in the 1v2. Trying to use the smoke to get away from APA, but the flash over the wall to follow from the C9 mid laner is now an additional overextension. APA gets caught and punished by Masu and Griffin, and FlyQuest just got exactly what they needed thanks to Quad recognizing his opportunity.
And we were just talking about how deadly this Akali can be in assassinating targets in the side lane, and with APA then overreaching, trying to get the kill, the Nocturne is immediately able to come in, and it's still looking pretty even, especially since FlyQuest is going to be able to mow down this turret on top side and take a tiny gold lead in the game.
Yeah, I'd say that is one of those plays that's born purely of frustration. It's one of these like sunk cost fallacy plays where he's just mad that you just killed my jungler, and you know maybe he's feeling pressure. You know, Blabber's like, "What? You're gonna let him get away with that, buddy?" Because you're not thinking about, oh, Nocturne has ultimate. There's a Nocturne ult timer right now, so why am I flashing to try and kill this Akali? Little frustration there. So now Quad gets a little smirk this time around, and let's get a look at live. They're already fighting in River. Gunblade active used.
We're fighting in River, but there's no dragon to even fight for. This is a crap battle right here, and that one is going to go the way of Griffin and FlyQuest. And FlyQuest have honestly retaken the gold lead. It's not a lot. It's not anything you're writing postcards home about, but that feels so good considering how rough this series has been.
And big thing now to me is going to be Orianna's side lanes, because you just flashed aggressively trying to make up for that play. Now with no flash, APA has to like quickly shove a wave and then run away really quickly, because it's you basically just always assume Nocturne's ultimate is up unless he literally just used it at this point in the game when it's rank 2 and you experimental hexplate and everything. So you have to be super cautious in side lanes as an immobile carry with no flash.
Yeah, and that's where, again, we're also going to see the power of Quad and even Gakos in these side lanes up against that Orianna. It should allow them to play a lot more aggressively as well, with the Nocturne kind of at their back. And this is a really nice kind of clawing back in from FlyQuest with making these picks and kind of punishing C9 over aggression.
And you see the hovers here. Blabber, everyone is well aware. All right, Orianna is going to be a target in the side waves. So Blabber's hovering, Vulcan's hovering.
Yeah, Vulcan immediately with the defensive Tempered Fate. It's going to catch out both his ally and the enemy diver as Griffin's now knocked down below half HP. Blabber looking for a little bit more here, but he does have to be mindful of Masu's damage in return. Everybody's committing teleports. Everybody wants to see where this goes. Thanatos has no Gnar bar. Quad is already down to half HP. Masu gets bound into the wall. Between worlds damage is huge coming out from Gakko. And Thanatos is about to transform. Quad will not survive thanks to the bailout. A double kill for Sven. It's a bloody fight up here in the top lane, but C9 win it 4 for 2.
That's why it's important to know your own weaknesses, Flowers, because then you know where your opponents will attack, and you preemptively hover him, just like we're talking about. Blabber and Vulcan here for the counter. You got the defensive Bard ult we were looking for from Champ Select, and Blabber's ultis here, actually crazy. Got double knockups on both of them. He plays the range really nicely. Super good counter there from C9, Blabber and Vulcan there to play off of the known target. And then the follow through here is big.
Yeah, and then you see Thanatos kind of doing some damage on the backside of this too. We talked about potential re-engage from this C9, especially with the Bard ult potentially being used defensively to stop. This really just shows, again, C9 recognizing where they could potentially be weak, especially after a couple picks, and then really capitalizing. That re-engage from Blabber was so good.
All right, Baron on the board, and we will have our next Dragon in 45 seconds here as well. So name of the game is setting up 4 neutral objectives for C9. It's about being respectful of the Nocturne and the Akali Burst. And for FlyQuest, it's about maybe making sure you're hitting an angle where they might not expect you. But no, it's C9 making the play instead. And with a quick kill onto the enemy jungler, Baron might just be the call.
Blabber's had such a good series, Kobe. We talked about this jungle matchup, how much we like each of these junglers. We had the graphic come out of the Unk and the Zoomer, and Blabber has just had such an amazing performance, really recognizing that he can jump on Griffin there, and it's going to be Baron to C9 potentially.
Well, FlyQuest is looking to stop it. But the Baron health bar already down to 5,000 here. Quad seeing if he has to go all the way around for a long pincer attack as Thanatos jumps over the wall, ready to stop Gakko. The Baron already secured by Blabber and C9. Tempered Fate timing, trying for something cheeky there. Doesn't quite work out, doesn't quite need to. Blabber gets the kill onto Gakko. Defensive handshake means C9 can't chase any further. But my friends, they have already just had a massive surge in power. They're up over 3,000 gold now. They've got the Baron for the next 3 minutes. This Dragon should be no contest. FlyQuest are out of sorts.
Yeah, immediately into the Drake stacking. They will get Ocean Soul, or yeah, Ocean Soul point off this. Or no, Mountain Soul point off this, sorry. The other thing I want to talk about, though, is, again, Thanatos. We talked about how good he is on the Gnar, how it was his signature pick. How initially when he came to this C9 roster, he was kind of struggling to team fight with them. I feel like we've seen... Oh.
We're seeing a dive now. Griffin going in, looking for the kill on Sven. Finds a massive shutdown. Huge stuff there from FlyQuest. But another nice Bard stun coming out from Vulcan. It keeps Thanatos alive. And now Masu is trying to fight and kite all the way through this. But Blabber's got the dash. The Cyclone takes him out. And now there's no way for Cryogen to do anything about this on his own. A triple kill to Blabber. And he's thinking about more. C9 going to disengage now. And right when it looked like FlyQuest had maybe found a moment from a larger opening, no, C9 shuts it down, and it's the Vulcan Bard double stuns once again.
I'm having a hard time deciding between Blabber and Vulcan, Flowers. For like this series, they have both smurfed.
Somebody's getting robbed again.
Yeah.
Either way we vote, somebody's getting robbed because they've both had some incredible plays, both individually and working together with the team. Thanatos trying to keep the pressure on the tier 2 turret here in mid lane. Vulcan just goes on a magical journey, gets right back out as FlyQuest shows up to try to stop the push. This gold lead now up to almost 5,000. The Mountain Soul point that you mentioned earlier, Emily. Thanatos just waiting in the jungle, follows it up with a wall up, even though he doesn't get the wall slam. Quad survives just barely, but no, that bailout is not saving anyone. Vulcan looks for even more now as the tier 2 turret is bulldozed over in mid. Does take a couple of spears for his trouble. Griffin's trying to defend up there in the top lane, tier 2, but a nice tempered fate from Vulcan, followed up by the shockwave from APA, and Masu's Callista has nowhere to go. Cryogen likely to die here. The bailout, again, it's not able to save anyone. We're seeing so little value from this Renata so far in this game, as C9 are just going to continue their push. There's only 2 left alive on the FlyQuest side, and the mid lane inhibitor turret is already down.
I mean, C9 said they were confident in picking FlyQuest as their opponent once they learned that they could, and they're looking great to close out this series.
10 seconds left on the Baron. They want to try to use it to knock down some Nexus turrets. Gat goes to target from Blabber as he goes in, finds a dominating streak as Griffin gets stunned into the wall, but Quad has finally made his way back into the rift. He wants to try to punish C9 here, diving into the back lines. He at least gets Sven, but he dies in the process. FlyQuest have respawned. They have enough men on the map to hopefully defend their Nexus, at least for a little while longer. Thanatos, the only one with a decent health bar left on C9, but that's not going to stop him. Masu and Cryo are dead again. Thanatos in hot pursuit of Griffin. Does not want to allow that last FlyQuest player away. It's an ace for C9, and once again, Vulcan is just trolling because it's funny. He's trolling because that's how well he's played this Bard this game. It's another 25-minute win, and this series, start to finish, was Cloud9 dominance.
Damn.
Yeah,
Damn.
that was a beatdown.
It was, what a performance from so many of the C9 players too. Vulcan and Blabber, absolutely my front runners.